Let's go.
It's an NA beer, unfortunately, because I said I would do this like no drinking challenge, which
Okay.
Why would I do that? But here it is.
Here's to you, dude.
Cheers.
Also, my cat,
Cheers.
Beauregard, is going crazy in the background, so I don't know if
He
that
has
will
thoughts.
pick up.
He
He's
has
got
thoughts about movies.
And that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about it. So I'll let him weigh in if he decides to.
I really didn't like the interpretation of the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's interpretation of the Odyssey.
He would most recently have opinions about. Oh, my roommate watched The Road to El Dorado the other night.
Oh, nice.
So yes,
Classic.
that would be his. Yeah, that would be his current.
His last
current commentary.
last logged on Letterboxd.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
But we'll see what happens. Anyhow, we're here and we have our own thoughts about movies to share.
For sure.
You've been up to your ears in movies.
Yeah. What have I been doing?
I'm curious as to what you thought of Phenomena, the movie that you saw at the very end of MIFF. We haven't talked about that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. It was crazy to lay eyes upon. Like so it was like basically told in chapters of like all these different physics concepts. So it was like, light and sound and gravity and like all the way up to like quantum physics, which, I was like, I mean, to be like granted, like the first couple of sort of chapters, I was like, okay, yeah, like I remember this from, high school physics class, like light waves and sound waves and, all that stuff. But by the end I was like, I don't really know what they're talking about, but everything looks so cool. And to be fair, like the film wasn't like a heady like science documentary, like it was pretty light on the science.
Okay.
And just incredible to look at.
Wow. So was it more about documenting these phenomenon more than like explain? Okay, cool.
Right. So it's basically like sort of self-reflexive, like personal documentary. You know how like, documentarians, like filmmakers will be like, here's me making the documentary. So it's sort of like, it shows them as like a character in the film, basically. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. And this filmmaker was like working with his dad, who is a high school physics teacher.
Oh, cool.
And like they have this laboratory shed thing, like in the in the backyard where like his dad would do all these crazy experiments. And so he set up his camera and just filmed, with like super like zoomed in, like super like high speed, like slow motion, capturing like every single minute little detail. And it was just like, it was just crazy. Like they kind of explained the concept a little bit and showed kind of the setup of the experiment. Mm-hmm. And then the next 10 minutes of the film would just be footage of that experiment, like super close up, with kind of like trippy electronic music over it. And I was just like, I was in the second row. It's a small theater, so the second row isn't like a crazy, like it was still a good seat. It was pretty standard.
Yeah.
But I was close enough that I was just like, oh my gosh, like my entire like field of vision was crazy. That would be crazy to see in IMAX.
Well, that's like when I saw Oppenheimer, I saw it in IMAX, and I saw it, I think, in the second row because we drove down to the Providence to see it in 70 millimeter.
Right. Nice.
And they weren't fantastic seats, but during the shots where they showed the experiments and the phenomena, if you will, that was unbelievable because you truly did lose the border of the screen in your peripheries. And so you were just like, it was your entire field of view was just, particles or waves or radiation or whatever. It was pretty
Whatever
sick.
Oppenheimer was doing with
Whatever that guy was up to, even
whatever that
I don't
guy
know.
was out in Nevada or wherever he was.
Was it an American film? Was it like a Maine film?
No, it was an Australian filmmaker.
Oh, cool. Huh.
So yeah, it was a film that I hadn't heard about. Like working in the industry, I hear about various films, and like I had never heard of that film. I really hope it'll get a theatrical release. I actually don't know.
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Because we were, when we recorded that last episode in the hotel, we hadn't really made a plan for the night, and so I ended up going to see Mallory's Ghost, which was super fun. I really liked it. A bunch of my friends worked on it. I mentioned, I think in our last episode, that I like bumped into some folks that I knew on the street who had worked on it. But then I was sitting in the audience getting ready for this movie to start, and my friend Ian walked in, and Ian is an actor. He's like a producer and production guy for film sets around town, and he's a really big birder as well. And I the lights were kind of starting to go down, and I heard the door open. I was like, "Who's this asshole coming in so late?" I turned around and it was Ian. I was like, "No way!"
Hey,
and
I know that
down.
asshole.
Yeah, and so he came and we got to sit next to each other and we watched it, and then there was a talk back at the end with Arabella Oz and the crew. Arabella was the director of Mallory's Ghost. And people got to, it was just interesting to hear what she had to say. The guy she played opposite, her boyfriend in the film, is her husband in real life. And they met in an acting class, and it was very cool to see. I'm glad I went to see it, but when we were making up our minds about what movies we were going to go see, you had already seen Mallory's Ghost, and you said you were going to go see Phenomena. So it was a double feature, which I didn't realize going into it, and it was Mallory's Ghost. But before that, it was a movie called
Something.
We just talked about this, and I edited it out while we looked for it. So
Something Greater Than You.
Something Greater Than You. And I feel so bad that I have such a hard time remembering the film's name because it was fantastic. It was a 9-minute long stop motion short about two raccoons who like save a chickadee from a winter storm. And there was a Q&A with the director of it afterwards. Gordon LePage, no relation, as he said in the talkback, which I thought was very funny.
He submits a film like that basically every year to MOFF.
That's
to
wild.
MIFF. Yeah. Oh.
Here he comes.
Beauregard is like, I want to play with the raccoons.
Come here, Bubba. Oh, what do you think about the raccoons, huh? He's pissed. He doesn't like this. He was like, so it took him 26 months to make a 9-minute film.
That's insane.
Unreal.
That's insane.
And it was gorgeous.
The amount of like sustained attention that requires, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm like struggling to get through like a cross stitch, like a beginner cross stitch kit.
I'm struggling to get through like a 40-minute podcast episode.
Yeah. So true.
No, but it was really great. He said some really cool stuff about stop motion. He said he thinks it's the most AI proof form of film, which I think is super cool. He was like, I don't think there's any way to truly mimic this. And based on what I saw in his movie, I don't think there is. Like, he was dealing with essentially life scale raccoon puppets, and he talked about how you can't reshoot. He said there's no reshooting because even if you set up everything the way it was before, when you're shooting that close up, you can see dust, you can see hair, you can see all of these tiny little details that we don't think about, and there's no way you can reset, the dust to where it was when you last shot it. He said once you get it, right? Unbelievable. And so he was like, once you get it, that's it. There's like, if you want to cut to a different shot or something like that, you can maybe do that. But there's no way to sort of like repose and reshoot.
Yeah, there's so much just like inherent randomness in the environment when you're like that in that minute detail that you can't control everything.
It was I never really thought about that before.
No,
so that was super cool to
thought about that.
Yeah, it was just super cool to hear from him. And it was also very cool to watch that next to my friend Ian, the birder. There's a sustained bit in the film about the raccoons playing bird calls from like a little cassette tape back and forth to each other. And then, this was fun too, we were watching Mallory's Ghost after the talk back with Gordon, and somebody didn't do their research when they were making Mallory's Ghost, because they used, and Ian called this one out, the call of a European robin for like the background diegetic sound for the scenes happening outside at this house in Maine.
Oh my gosh. Nothing getting past you.
I also picked up they were using the call of a wood thrush, which you generally hear deep in the woods in New England, but like on the lawn, like this very manicured kind of lawn at the house. So I thought the movie was fantastic. I do have to ding it a little bit.
Yeah,
for
you
not
have to.
having your accurate bird calls. You gotta have your accurate bird calls. And you know about this. This is a tangent that I could go off about the inappropriate use of non-native species or non-native calls in movies. We've
there
talked
was a
about
period
it before.
piece, I think.
It was
Hamnet.
The first trailer for Hamnet.
Right, a period piece where you said that particular hawk or whatever, the bird, like hadn't.
We got into a discussion about it on the our Slack that we had, and I said, Chloe Zhao, what are you doing? You used a Harris's hawk for this falconry hawk for your piece that takes place in England in the 14 or 1500s, whatever, whenever that guy was kicking around, and then Kyle, our buddy Kyle, I think said like, oh well, like maybe somebody brought it over from the New World, and we determined that could not have been, because it was pre New World.
So it was
discovery, pre-Columbian exchange.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
And so I said, And also, it's been noted that Harris's hawks, when attempted to use for falconry, which they do get used for a lot, when they are taken out of their sort of southwesterny desert environment, which they have here in the U.S., and taken to somewhere cooler or damper, like, for instance, the British Isles, they exhibit sort of listlessness and disinterest in hunting. So even if they did bring it over, that
bird would not be jumping at the bit to go hunting.
No.
I used to work on a TV show, like PBS documentary show, kind of like a travel show, and we went around to different states filming stuff. And in the edit room, I was just like an associate producer. In the edit room, my producer had me research accurate bird calls, like sound effects, to use in the episode. And she was very particular. She was like, it has to be this particular species. And I was like, okay, but I can't find that. So like, but yeah, she was a real stickler for that, which that's important. It's important.
People notice. They might be weirdos, but they notice.
Yeah. And I would bet that in Maine, probably there's a lot more of those weirdos in the audience that would notice than maybe
you're talking to one. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Well, I'm really glad that you saw that movie because it, of course, won the Tourmaline Prize.
It did indeed. Well deserved.
I mean, if I had known about the bird snafu, my gosh, maybe I would have Maybe I would have cast my vote somewhere else. No, just kidding.
I have to give you a shout out also, because at the end of last week's episode, you had sort of a self-help moment where you said, listen, folks who want to go see the Odyssey, even if you can't see the Odyssey in IMAX, just go see the Odyssey in theaters, because it's going to be better. I think you said, it's going to be better than, watching it at home or on your phone or wherever you might happen to catch it. To just go and see it in theaters. And when we recorded that, I was like, no, that's totally true. But me, I'm going to see it in IMAX. I was like, no, Julia, thank you. That's very true. But me, I'm different, and I'm going to go see it. And then the Sacco IMAX was sold out for a week and a half straight.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was funny when I went on. They have little Greek helmets and all the occupied seats on the website.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
that's cute.
Just
a bunch of soldiers. Yeah, it's like getting Eras tour tickets.
Yeah,
yeah. Less expensive, hopefully.
Well, I eventually, I stopped beating up on myself, and I said, look, you're about to start rehearsals. You got to go see this movie before you start rehearsals, because otherwise you're never going to see that movie.
Yeah.
And so I went with Abby to the Apple Cinemas, the ACX, and it was awesome. Also, asterisk, a couple episodes ago, I was talking about having gone to see Project Hail Mary in Screen X and being like, what the heck? Where were the fun, screens on the side? And I think maybe I dunked a little hard on Apple Westbrook Cinemas for not giving me that viewing experience. I would like to officially apologize to the Westbrook Apple Cinemas and say that that's on me. Egg on my face. I got ACX and Screen X mixed up. So the ACX stands for Apple Cinemas Experience or something like that. And it's there. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's I'm still bad on your behalf.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that.
But okay, so what does that mean?
So it's like their premium viewing experience, sort of. So it's as close as they can get to IMAX without it being IMAX. So it's got
So it's a bigger screen?
Big screen, Dolby Atmos sound. I thought it was a great place to see the Odyssey. I had the best time ever. I loved the Odyssey. Yeah. I was so glad I said, I'm just going to go see it.
You just gotta go see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And I think people should see it as big and as loud as they can. I agree with you. I don't think they should hold themselves to IMAX.
Yeah.
I was really, really there's been a lot of very kind of nitpicky takes about the Odyssey. Yeah, floating around.
Yeah, well, the translator
that
used came out and was like, this was a bad script or something.
Yeah, she thought he didn't capture the complexities of Odysseus or something like that.
What do you think about that?
I have not read the translation that she did or ever read the original work. I think that, I don't know, there's an example that Stephen King hates the movie The Shining. He thought that was a bad adaptation of his book. People love The Shining. So I think maybe different mediums can get judged for different qualities. This was the Odyssey was and I guess this is what Nolan does, but it's it's a capital M movie. It is huge and loud and 3 hours long, and not once did I look at my watch or be like, oh, I wonder where we are in this movie. It was just unbelievable. Everything that I was kind of worried about, there's all those frickin' weirdos online being Helen of Troy wasn't a black woman. There were no black women in ancient Greece. First of all,
it's
shut the fuck
cares?
up. Yeah. First of all, shut the fuck up. Second of all, who cares? Third of all, shut the fuck up. What?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it just there, and things oh well, he's not wearing authentic Bronze Age era, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. It was sick as hell. It was awesome. It kicked ass.
It was a good time at the movies.
It was a good time at the movies, and I thought it was a good movie. I think these things can be divorced from their source material, especially if their source material is several thousand years old. Yeah. I think it's interesting to see where it diverges, because if it's diverging from source material that has lasted for thousands of years, there must be a reason for it diverging from that source material. So I think it's more interesting to have a movie that makes choices and does things a little bit differently. I didn't love everything he did with it. I still gave the movie a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It was just that.
I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, it was like we went to a 6 o'clock showing, so we got out at like 9, came home, it was a work night, and then I had work the next morning, and so I went to bed within 2 hours from getting home from the movie. I fell asleep, and then like literally eyes snapped open in the morning. I was like, damn, the Odyssey was so good. Like, and like immediately back to thinking about the Odyssey. People have, I don't know, people have strong opinions about it. My strong opinion is that it's not that serious, and you should go to the movies and have fun.
Go see a really good movie that is like just huge in scale and is like an accessible, like at the end of the day, like this story has persisted over these thousands of years because it's like accessible and transmutable, and it's, you can sort of like see yourself in multiple different characters. I also haven't, I think I actually read, I think we read some passages from the Odyssey in my Latin class in high school.
Okay.
Which was a million years ago, and I don't remember anything. But but I'm seeing it on Sunday with my grandma.
Wow, fun.
With my 90-year-old grandma. Shout out, Graham. She's a real movie
Shout
lover.
out, Graham. Heck yeah, where are you guys going?
We're going to the Evening Star.
Okay, nice, cool.
Because that's pretty much like the only, because it's 3 hours long, and because we've got, a furry little canine love bug at home who can't be left alone for more than 5 hours, like, we can't really drive down to Saco to see and see it in IMAX. Like, it just can't really. And so so the Evening Star is showing it. I think this is the second week they're showing it, and I'm excited to see it. But yeah, the whole thing about seeing it as Nolan intended. I was actually gonna write like a whole thing about this, but maybe I'll just talk about it here. It's it's just kind of a bummer that like it is his right to create a work in 70 millimeter shot on IMAX, and he says, okay, this is the intended format. Yeah. But there's 41 screens in the world.
Is that it?
That do 70 millimeter IMAX. And the closest one is in Providence.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's like, and also and there's no just like regular 70 millimeter in Maine. I think the closest one would probably be Boston.
I think it's the Coolidge, right?
Yeah, probably.
Do they do 70?
I think there's I think the AMC on Boston Common also does 70 millimeter as well. But anyway, so it's like
there.
Yeah. Great movie. Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I hear Granny.
I hear Granny too. Oh my gosh. All right. So my in-laws are here. And actually the whole family, Dan's brothers and everybody as well. So I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta go record a podcast. I gotta go talk about movies.
Somebody has to.
I mean, somebody's gotta. Anyway, so it's just kind of a bummer that no we as Mainers, we can't really access this in a reasonable way. And so, okay, so you see it, you choose to see it in regular digital projection. That's, that's fine. Like, you saw it that way. I will see it that way. It's still, you'll still get, you'll still experience the film. But I feel like this is one of the first movies where people have been really talking about the differences of the framing of just the sheer height of the frame. So 70 millimeter is a taller frame. So if you're seeing it in regular, not 70 millimeter, they're cutting off, people's foreheads and, like they're cutting off at the top and the bottom. So you're like literally seeing less. And I'm sure there's other ones like, Marty Supreme probably, like Oppenheimer, is probably like the same deal. It's like stuff that you're not seeing up there. But I feel like this was the first time where I'm really like aware of like, oh, there's like relevant, like you can't, like they cut off the monsters' heads or whatever. You can't see like the full height of the giants.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say this because I do think it is a shame that I saw somebody say like if you can't afford or get to an IMAX, you physically see less of the movie. Like if you can't pay for the full movie, you don't get the
I've
full
seen
movie,
it's like like the Odyssey is a movie where poor people see less.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like maybe that's true, but not just poor people, like people who don't live near one
in
of
movie
these
deserts or whatever, in IMAX deserts.
Which is like a lot of Maine. Like you have to drive a fair amount to just get to any movie theater at all.
I will say that I never felt when I saw it that I was like what the heck? It makes me think about
that's good.
I'm a big Simpsons fan, and when Simpsons came to Disney Plus, when Disney Plus came out, they had it formatted for like a 16:9 screen viewing ratio, and which I think is like the HD format for television, and it used to be a 4:3 back in the olden days, and so the old episodes are formatted for that viewing ratio. I'm starting to talk about things that I don't fully understand, so apologies if this doesn't make a lot of sense. But when
the
they
format
uploaded,
bros can call in and
let us know.
I know there's a lot of you out there.
But
lurking.
Lurking, listening to us,
waiting for us to slip up.
Yeah, right. But when they uploaded the show to Disney Plus, they uploaded all the old episodes, which were in 4:3, to 16:9, and there were like a couple instances where it cut off visual gags, like jokes that have been written in, are part of the episode, and are not being told to the audience because they've been uploaded incorrectly. They have now fixed it. If you ever are watching The Simpsons on Disney Plus for the first time, go into settings and change it to like classic view or something like that. It has some name. You do have to switch it on, which is weird. But it's just interesting how these dynamics can shift how you physically experience something.
I feel like movies are like one of the only art forms where how you're consuming the movie is like so variable. I guess you could say that about music too. You're consuming it on like via like digitally or
live
analog,
or
live.
Vinyl. Yeah.
Right. I think maybe that's similar, but with movies, it's like there's so many different formats. Like what you were saying about like ACX versus ScreenX, like all of these chains, all of these companies have their own like premium format, and they're not that different from each other. They're obviously not. They're not like 70 millimeter. They're not IMAX. But it's just like there's so many ways you can experience this work of art, and Christopher Nolan, is anointing a specific type of experience. And it's just interesting that like there's going to be so many people who experience his film in largely different ways. And I don't know, like I think it's beautiful in some ways, because it's like, oh, like this art can kind of like morph into whatever kind of infrastructure you have in your community. But it's also a little sad in some ways, because it's like,
yeah,
you're not getting that like anointed format that he has like, you know,
chosen. It's interesting you say that, because this, I'm going to start all over again. This is an interesting point to bring up, because just today a friend of mine logged the movie Obsession, that new horror movie, on Letterboxd.
Still too scared to see it.
Yeah, same. Haven't done it. Was never going to see it in theaters. May see it at home. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
I would like to see it.
Yeah. He said that he was like, it was okay. He said it was fine. And in his review, he normally doesn't like leave long reviews. He said, I think I probably would have had more fun if I had seen this in theaters, if I had seen this with a big crowd who was all getting scared together. And then he kind of started out down a little sort of philosophical thing where he was like, does that speak to the quality of a film if you enjoy it more in one spot than in a different spot? If you don't like it as much when you see it at home on a smaller screen without other people, without, you know, the darkness, does that mean the movie isn't as good? Like if you enjoy it less at home without sort of like the mystique of the theater, does that mean that it's actually not that good and the movie's sort of using the element of being in a theater as a crutch? And he didn't have an answer.
Or is it the opposite, where it's like, does that mean that the at-home viewing experience is cheapening like a really great film?
Right. And he didn't have an answer to it, and I don't either, but I commented on it and I was like, this is something I think about a lot. There's a tweet out there that was like, was it a 5-star movie, or was I simply swept away by the atmosphere of a big screen, a big popcorn, and a crisp Diet Coke or something like that, you know? And that is something that I think too, like ultimately when I went and saw the Odyssey, I had a fun time at the movies. That's what it was. And
that's
it was
what
a
counts.
5-star
like,
experience.
That's what we're here for. We're not here to like dissect every film and really say like, okay, this worked, this didn't work, this worked, this didn't work. We're here to talk about our experiences at the movies and just our experiences watching films, because that's what's like universal. You know, we're not all going to have the same opinions about like the quality of specific films.
Right.
But we're all going to share that experience of like, yeah, I saw this horror movie.
It's a communal experience.
And it was crazy and scary and exciting. And, you know, and then I watched it again at home 3 months later, and it was just like ho hum. But yeah.
Right. Well, I'm excited to hear about your experience with your grandmother seeing the Odyssey.
Yeah. And before you know it, it's going to be CIFF, Camden International Film Festival. We'll be there.
We'll be there. I am going to try to see Spider-Man, which comes out this weekend at a drive-in.
Yeah, fun.
So that's my plan.
That's a good drive-in movie.
I think it'll be a good time. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Until then, as always, I'm Nate.
I'm Julia.
And we will see you at the movies.
See you at the movies.
The Main Pod Week is hosted by Nate Stevenson and Julia Dunleavy, and edited and produced by Nate Stevenson. Social media video is produced by Nick Brown, and music is created by Peter Coleman. The podcast is a project of the Maine Play Week, a new media publication covering the moviegoing experience here in Maine. You can support our coverage financially by becoming a paid subscriber to our Substack at themainplayweek.substack.com/subscribe. Send your ideas, questions, or other musings to hello@themainplayweek.com, And follow us at The Main Play Week on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Substack. Learn more at themainplayweek.com. But most importantly, tell your movie-loving friends that we're here, and we'll see you at the cinema.